bump. Oh. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Children of Rath, the D&D meets Magic the Gathering show. So today's going to be a little bit special one for you all. This is kind of going to be like a pseudo-season finale we're going to kind of do. So we're going to take a short hiatus of at least a couple of weeks after this one. This is actual planned hiatus. We're going to come back for like a season 2. I'll come up with an entire new setup, you know, things like that. You know, it'll look spiffy and new and shiny, probably. Maybe not shiny. I'm not good at shiny. It'll look spiffy at least.
Shave your head and shine it.
No. That sounds like crazy talk to me. But anyway,
we're gonna time skip like 17 years in the future.
Probably not.
We're gonna be ripped.
That's
Naruto dead.
Kaz will be dead. He passed away of old age. No. We're not gonna time skip that far forward that Kaz would die of old age. That's...
I could die of old age.
It'll be the darkest timeline.
Mm-hmm. We could come back with Old Man Kaz. Back in my day, I invented stuff.
Back in my day, I still had all 3 eyes.
No, somehow you become immortal like Squee.
Yeah, that's the dream. Squee's immortality sucks though, because he still dies, he just gets better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered that we have to find Squee.
It's kind of like, what's his name, getting his liver poked out over and over again.
Prometheus?
Prometheus, yes.
Who brought fire that... Anyway.
But I just remembered that we have to find Squee. That's what we learned last week, is that we have to find fucking Squee.
It's on the list. It's on the list. You're gonna have a list when it comes to the new season of tasks to do and places to travel to. And you'll be heading away from a cursed mansion for who knows how long, maybe forever. But so we kind of come back into your group having tested out horrible deadly weapons which you found in a man's closet.
Fine.
When you put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Look.
Listen, it was to keep me out of trouble, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
We
you
only
just
caused
killed some
minor
trees.
Yeah, only minor deforestation.
Only minor deforestation. You didn't kill the evil tree or the good tree, at least.
Should have killed that evil tree.
The one that's coming for the other ones, slowly.
Yes.
But yes. So yeah, last time there was a huge interview with Dolmar Duel, and you learned a lot of information about what was going kind of on from him. He revealed to you that, yes, there is a room in one of the basements where he keeps his secret material. And there's a key for it. You found the key.
At least we think we did.
At least you think you did. You have not found the room yet. I believe we were checking around for the room.
The key was like a skull, right?
It was
Like
amulets.
3 skull amulet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I was like, you're looking for a real key. Stop looking for a key. This guy's dramatic.
I think we stopped right before we started searching the basement. Levels.
We also found fucked up magic boxes that are grenade disintegration things.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That you're going to install safety devices on.
Yes. Yeah, we need those.
Mm-hmm. You also probably should put caution, unstable.
I'm gonna be the one holding on to them.
Mm-hmm.
The safety device is so that they don't activate while they're in my bag.
Can we get one of those stickers for Carrie?
Yes.
Caution, unstable.
Caution, unstable, do not turn on.
Giggity!
That's valid. That's valid.
Giggity!
It's understandable.
The last time you had sex, Kaz nearly died, so.
Oh my.
Listen. How is that my fault?
I don't think they were related, but I
I
really
think it was Maxwell's fault for pissing you off.
It was, in fact, Maxwell's fault.
That's usually how it goes.
Uh-huh.
So
Maxwell pisses Carrie off, Carrie goes have sex, and Kaz almost dies. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
a good dynamic.
That is
As
in
you're
fact
saying.
how it works.
I'm Kaz!
So you're searching the basements. Who was in what basement? I don't remember what people said.
I don't think we organized that far yet.
Okay.
No, we
yeah.
just said we have enough people to cover all the basements.
So you have 3 basements to search. Well, technically 4, if you include the docks area, because you probably... I think, Kaz, you were saying you probably should.
I was saying we probably should, but Domar Duel was like, no, you idiots, why would I put shit there? But he said that a lot.
Mhm.
Domar Duel was not a nice man.
No, he's not. He's incredibly vengeful, has a list, and then once he murders you, collects your head into a jar, which he preserves. Possibly animated so you're still alive forever as a head in a jar, so he can just mock you. But that's not always easy to do. So, who's going where?
Third
How many basements are
basement.
there?
There are technically 4 basements, but the 4th one is kind of like... meh.
That's the dock area.
Mhm.
I'll go to basement 3.
Are these basements dangerous or no?
I mean, they're
It's-
just our basements.
It's our
Oh.
basements that we've been through. I mean,
So
there
yes,
are
they're highly
dangers
dangerous.
in
They're
there.
so
So.
fucking dangerous.
Mhm.
And we don't know if his room's trapped. He didn't mention if it was or wasn't, and we didn't really ask.
I'll go to B1, I guess.
Probably is trapped.
I'll take B2.
Okay.
Oh no, you sunk my battleship.
Good.
Carrie, where do you want to go?
Fuck your boats.
She wants to go to the docks.
Wherever's remaining.
The
The
docks.
All right. Then for now, I want each of you to give me an intelligence investigation check.
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm so great at these.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better at perception.
This is kind of like your initial kind of searching
yeah.
around for everything.
No, I didn't do bad.
You said intelligence check?
Well, investigation.
Oh, investigation.
It
I am
defaults to using
also-
intelligence.
I also have my Eldritch Sight, if that matters.
It might.
Got a
So I
pretty
crit.
bad roll.
Carrie.
I also got a crit, but the other way around.
Things loading. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It'll pop up.
Lee, do you find your foot?
No, he doesn't. He lost that.
Yeah, that's definitely gone.
Where'd my foot go? 16. Okay. So, I'm going to start with could carry down in B10. I'm going to be honest, you don't find anything different. You find no signs of any kind of secret rooms. It seems as though this area down here, like if you compare it to the rest of the basements in the houses, it's the least complete. Like there's a lot less, worked walls. There's a lot, like the entire room where the submarines are is kind of natural caverny. And there are large sections of this area that aren't really well constructed. It's very simplistic in a lot of ways.
Pretty sure they mostly sent me here to keep me out of trouble.
I mean, that could be an option.
No,
Who was on B2?
I'm on B2.
You're on B2. Who was
And
on
I crit.
B1? Yeah.
Joe's on B1, but Joe's also...
No, Joe was on B3,
Oh, Joe's on B3.
Yeah.
and he's muted.
And he's muted.
Yes, I'm on B3.
Yeah. Okay, Maxwell, you find nothing. I'm gonna be honest. You find less than nothing.
You get lost.
You like start looking through the one room that's filled with all kinds of like junk and storage supplies, and while you're looking for it, you kind of just get distracted, like trying to like. It's a lot of stuff, and it's all just kind of piled in there. so it makes it that you're kind of like climbing over things and trying to like, check the walls, and it's not really easy, and, you spend your time doing that. So you're kind of distracted and don't probably search as much as you'd want. Kaz, you have an incredibly thorough investigation of B2. Unfortunately, B2, it's a lot of the cells where either people or animals were kept. They seem simplistic, not the kind of place that you'd certainly find anything that stands out. When the caretaker, the kind of jailer's caretaker room, again, pretty simple. The supply room, as you kind of go through that, you will definitely find that there are a couple of unusual items in there that seem dangerous.
Good. Great. More danger.
Like, you will find a number of these saps that seem to generate like a electrical shock also.
Shock juice?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm adding shock juice to my inventory. It's not an energy drink, and no, Carrion cannot drink it.
Because it's an item, not a drink. Certainly in the horrible cage room, where it looks like there was things kept in cages, you will find evidence inside some of those cages that it looks like there were strange animals kept in there. Others that might be a little bit more humanoid.
Yeah.
Now, Claude.
Yes.
This area down here in the third basement, certainly there isn't a lot of places that you originally think the things. Like, you kind of like take a search around, you know where the secret area that led to the elevator was. Okay, that's one of them. You know the room kind of where Dolmardu was being kept. You know the secret passage in there. The room where the Phyrexian demon was being kept. You know, the secret passage there. You kind of check out the room that had the horrible genetic creations that are kept in, like, tubes and stuff, and probably very awful, and some have been cleaned up, and others have not. You know, that just seems to be a pleasant place. The giant conjuring circle, that's a pretty easy room to search. There isn't a lot of sign of anything. The alchemy lab. As you're kind of searching around, you notice something. Near one of the bookshelves, there are some strange scratches on the ground, as if the bookshelf has been moved. Now, moving it out of the way, you don't see anything. It seems like a blank wall. You can't find anything. You don't know if there's some... but it looks as though the scratches indicate that this bookshelf has been moved repeatedly.
Does my Eldritch Sight show anything?
No, there is no magic, at least in this area here.
I think I still had one of the amulets on me. I'm going to pull it out, see if anything happens, try looking through it.
Doesn't seem to react to anything, nothing kind of noticeable. I mean, the bookshelf, like, when you move it, it does seem to actually, like, swing a little bit away from the wall. Very easily.
I'm going to look through the books on the bookshelf.
They seem to be alchemy books. It's a number, like the bookshelves down here, it's all about alchemy and alchemical experiments and stuff like that. And they
take, like, each one off, make a stack, and just see, is there anything with the books? Is there anything with the bookshelf?
Why don't you give me? Roll perception.
Okay. That is one of my good ones. And I didn't roll great.
You don't notice anything? The thing is, like, there's something odd about this, but you're certainly not seeing it, you know. That's for sure. Like, you definitely get the feeling that, like, you know, this is the most down here you've seen that is unusual.
I'm going to try to go in goopy form and poke around the wall.
Okay.
See if I feel any seams or...
Give me another perception check. I guess, yeah, we'll just stick with another perception. Alright. Let me just check something. Okay. So you're feeling around the wall, and certainly there's something here. It's in such a way that it's very difficult for you to goop through. Like, you can compress yourself pretty well, but however tight this is seems to be beyond your capabilities to compress yourself. But there is something here, definitely. There also seems to be something like in the shape of the bookshelf, and there seems to be something smaller in the center.
Okay, I'm gonna like focus on the center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn back solid and try to just like run my hand over it, see if I can feel any indent, like maybe something slides or anything like that.
All right. Certainly there is a crack here that goes all around and it creates kind of square in the wall. It's a very thin crack, like, you know, it's like minuscule. You almost can't see it. Like even a nail couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
Maybe certain tools, maybe, but your thieves' tools usually aren't that like thin or something.
Yeah. Maybe this is something we need one of the people who can move stone for.
Possibly.
Or you could disintegrate it.
I'm going to go see if I can find a Wintress or a... God, my brain
Hang?
just died. Hang, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You find Hang.
Hang, can I borrow you for a moment?
Sure.
I found an interesting piece of wall down here. I'm not sure if you can manipulate it.
I could try.
I have a feeling it could be something like those tunnels we found before.
I'll take a look. She'll get down there. She'll use her stone shaping abilities on the area you kind of point out, and interestingly enough, she's able to kind of manipulate a hole open in the area, and it seems to be there's a small area in there. The area seems... It looks as though it's like half of a chamber, maybe? That's kind of odd.
Agreed. There's no place to put, like...
It looks like maybe
an
half
amulet
an
or
amulet
something.
would go in there. Like the bottom half doesn't exist.
That's really weird.
I don't really understand this. Maybe we should get the others and ask them. I can remain here just in case you need me to do more manipulations.
Okay, yeah, let me go get the others. I'll run around and grab everyone.
Easy enough. Alright. So, you'll certainly find that there is this wall that Claude's pointing out. Some kind of something here with this kind of like small chamber in the middle that Hang has forcefully opened up.
It looks like half an amulet could fit in, but I don't understand this.
We could try, and I know I'm gonna sound like Carrie in here. Breaking it down.
And
I'd be offended, but that was my first option.
See?
I'm not detecting any magic with my sight, right?
Currently no.
Oh, could I try to sense and detect artifice?
Sure. You'll take a look at it and kind of like investigate it and take a look at the wall itself. The wall is actually unusual. Can you actually roll me a Smith's Tools check?
Smith's tools. Could I do tinker?
Sure, I'll let you use Tinker's tool. But do it with disadvantage.
Well, I mean, they're the same skill, effectively, actually.
Ah,
Because, I mean, I'm using intelligence for this, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I just had the Tinker's tools prepped easier.
Oh, okay, so you said this. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
like, shit, that's still a 16.
The first thing you're going to notice when you're like looking closely is that square area of the wall seems to be made of a slightly different material than the rest of the wall. It seems as though, like, you're not sure what it is, but there is, like, ore flecks actually in throughout the entire wall. The section of the wall that Claude has pointed out. There does seem to be some kind of, like, components to this. Like, when you're looking at the area, you can kind of, like, look at the area that Hang's manipulated. It seems as though she's, like... It's like the door of something that, like, moves, and she kind of, like, tore it open.
Okay. So she, like, just broke open part of the door, rather than the entire door.
Yes, but...
Yeah.
It seems as though there's, like, an artifice component to this entire thing.
Is there any way I could try to figure out where about the skulls might move? Like, where they're supposed to? I don't know, if slot in or just be placed at would be the right way.
Why don't you give me an investigation check around this area?
Sure, I can do that.
You can have advantage on this because of your artifice ability in this case, because it is artifice and not
Alright.
not the same kind of things.
See how we roll pretty well.
Okay. Investigating it, you realize that there's a connection from the bookshelf, from the wall, into the bookshelf. There's actually like a component to the bookshelf that opens up. You will very easily notice that the bookshelf seems a little thicker in the back, which Claude didn't notice.
We've been looking at the wall. We need to look at the back of the thing. Fuck.
Uh-huh.
Pieced it together.
Uh-huh. So...
I'm gonna put the... Yeah.
You'll easily find a small area on the back of the bookshelf that feels like it's like a knot in the wood. It looks like a knot in the wood, but it presses in ever so gently. Something that's so very well hidden because it looks so natural. Doing so, part of the bookshelf slides open to look at an area that looks like 3 skulls fit into.
We're all in the same room, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not moving my skull into that.
Not
it's
your
fine,
skull.
We have other skulls. Although, thank you for letting us know that we cannot put your face into this door.
I mean,
Maxwell
I
just
could.
nods repeatedly.
Uh-huh.
We're not going to
Don't
put
tempt
Maxwell's head in the
Mads.
door. It's going to be
Don't
fine.
tempt Carrie. She might actually do it.
We found these skull
would.
amulets earlier. So, do I imagine there's going to be like some weird pattern that we have to put the skull amulets in, or can we just fucking toss those bad boys? In the slot?
Each one looks like it fits, uniquely to their spot, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so they're not all like uniform, except for some strange arcane symbol that I have to fucking piece together. No, I'm just going to put them where they're supposed to go.
Okay. Once you put all three in, there's this grinding noise coming from the stone door. That's broken.
Okay, put what you did back. Put it
Oh,
back.
okay. She fixes it as it kind of grinds, and it looks as though the entire thing slides in the square and then slides down into place, and now the back area is whole. You hear this popping noise coming from the bookshelf.
Did the amulets fall out?
No, half the amulets fell out.
Pick up the ones that fell out?
It's like the back halves, like
Oh.
literal half of each amulet fell out.
Ah.
What?
Is there places in the door now to put those?
There's one place, and each of these looks like it's got some kind of like patterns and holes on it. One of you wants to roll an intelligence check. I'm not gonna actually have you like do this because I physically can't. But you have to think of loud. Like
Yes.
it's like they stack in a certain way on top of each other, and they have holes, to like make it, and you have to do it in like a certain pattern to fit in the thing,
If anyone wants to give me a help, I'll take it.
Me. I'll help.
And Maxwell can, if you want, I might need a bardic. We'll see.
I was gonna ask, did you want that?
I'll take it. Fuck it.
I'll do
I'll
it,
take
yeah.
a bardic.
Bardic inspiration. Let's go.
What's your bardic up to? Is it a D8 now? Is it D10?
I think it's a D10 because we're level 10, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a D10.
Yeah, you get a level 10 or a D10 to work
I'm
with.
gonna roll that D10.
Well,
And wait.
Mhm.
Where's the thing? Where's the fucking thing?
Mm-hmm,
Wow. That's an unnatural 20.
Okay. You like look at the pattern that's in there and then like compare them for a while and play around with it for a little bit, but then you're like, aha! Click, as if it's almost like flash of genius. As you click it in, and the entire wall slides in just a little bit and then slides to the side, revealing a staircase leading up.
God, I love this. I hate this house, but this part's cool.
Who wants to go first? I
Me.
can lead the way if you...
Right, I'm following Caddy.
If I run into any traps, I can absorb the damage.
I mean, guys, you very easily will notice with all your investigations once the door's out of the way, it appears to have been trapped, that were disabled when you opened the door properly. You could have busted it down. You just would have had to deal with the traps.
Ooh, I'm a fucking puzzle master.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you certainly could have forced it open. Just traps, then.
I did no puzzle. I did shenanigans.
You'll head upstairs.
It was Tetris.
Mm-hmm. Heading upstairs, you'll find yourself in a chamber that seems probably somewhere around where B2 would be. You can estimate, but off in an area not connected with it. This chamber here, which you enter in one door, there's a door on the other side. It is filled with notebooks, books, scrawlings, strange little devices, all kinds of stuff. This definitely seems like a personal office or laboratory hidden away.
Nice.
All right, let's ransack the place.
Fuck yeah.
I
Start
could
looking.
be down for some pillaging.
All right, we're all on board with just stealing whatever looks good and looks valuable and looks important.
Well,
Yeah.
kind of our house.
Yeah, but it's more fun to think of it like, we're rampaging through, like marauders.
So, you can find
Like
the following...
nerdy
I will tell you, everything in here feels important. The basic theory of every strange magical thing that has been in this house is explained here. Now, granted, it's not perfect, but there is notes on countless amounts of stuff. You can find his notes on all the various planes he stole stuff from. His notes taking on, you know, what he discovered, the things that he brought out as he studied them. There's entire treatises on technology and information that is of Phyrexian origin. He, in fact, has information that seems to indicate he was planning at one point in time to take stuff from Phyrexia itself. Phyrexia still exists. It's ruined, but it still exists-ish. Ruined-ish. You've heard about that, remember?
Yeah.
There's treatises on a lot of stuff, like information on the Furnace of Wrath, and studies on that. On Phyrexian skyships, Phyrexian, the Colossus that you have. On Phyrexian Colossi, many different weapons. Weapons and technology, or like artifice from various cultures, dating back. There's information that seems to stem on the collection of animals he has. He's made notes and informational gathering on every animal that is in the zoo you have. There is apparently small pieces of experimental items in here. Granted, most of them are incomplete, but some of them kind of can show you the basic structures of various things that he was working on. With the pieces here, you could probably have a much better chance of things like finishing the other submersible, working on parts that probably would be related to artifice ships that have things that have water wheels, that travel across the ocean and stuff, and things like that. That ships that are powered. Even possibly working on that Colossus or other things like that, improving them. There are studies on magical genetics here. There are, and the complexity of it. He seems to have broken down, effectively, it's not as accurate as, science when it comes to magical genetics, It's not quite the same as it comes to science, because you can't see things the same way. They don't have electron microscopes. They have magic, which allows you to feel things and manipulate things, and you have a basic understanding of genetics. Kind of not quite at the not to the level that you really think. You don't, you understand the basics, but he seems to dive deep into it. You will find copies of multiple notes from various individuals. Urza, Mishra, his ancestor Limdul, Navinarau, a number of other important information. There's a treatise on a number of important figures too. It seems like he researched a large number of very powerful legendary figures from throughout Dominaria's history, and came up with information on all of them. the Elder Dragons. He lists all and talks about all of them. Important figures like, Urza. There's an entire thing on that, like, pretty much, maybe Kaz you'd understand. He breaks down a basic understanding of planeswalking and those that haven't.
Is there anything on Nim?
Yes.
Talk about.
It revealed...
Does it list his troubled romantic past?
No. Doesn't list anything like that. According to the notes here, he is a planeswalker that was in the service of Freyalise, who herself was a older planeswalker. He disappeared, and according to the notes here, he disappeared for a period of about 500 years and didn't show up in any kind of history books. Like, he tracked a lot of those, especially like Urza, who just stuck around Dominaria most of the time. He tracked Urza really well in his places and was able to, break things down. It seems like he had a very big interest in it because he was thinking, there's definitely notes that he begun to understand using some of the old technology and stuff, and grasping the planar gate that he discovered, a way to almost detect the energies of planeswalkers, and was able to begin to identify them more. It's through that he was able to identify a few individuals that he will list that he believes had the spark for them. Apparently a man on in Shiv somewhere. And also a merfolk from Vidalia. So a human from Shiv and a merfolk from Vidalia. Two individuals that apparently he had met at one point in time that he identified having sparks, but he believed. But did not, from the energy patterns, he thinks that they had not awakened. Granted, he said his ability to detect them was very inaccurate, and it was by happenstance that he came upon both of those. Because unawakened was very difficult to find. Basically,
Right.
If he meets you and he used his scanner, he could detect it, but it required him to be right there. It was very up-in-your-face contact to find it. It's not something you could, scan a crowd and find someone. No, you had to get, kind of intimately up in their face, almost. Unfortunately. There's a lot of other things. He lists a lot of experimental work, a lot of things he was developing. He was working on a lot of different levels of Artifice. He spent decades working on, countless things.
I'm going to take time and look through and see if I can find anything on the people that we've been worried about.
Them shadowy fucks.
Yeah. Because that's been my focus for a long time now. And we know he's had some dealings.
At most, you will find, backing up his notes, you will find that he has some very interesting notes about... He did do some research on those... On those of the Shadow, he called them. It seems as though they were a group with... He actually goes into the entire thing that, when Wrath originally existed, those that ended up in Shadow were beings that were attempted to be brought into Wrath and failed to completely. Effectively, Wrath was a melting pot of those kidnapped to experiment and study by the overseers of the place, the Evankars. The Evankars did this as something to pass time as they built and developed Wrath into what it was. The idea was that some of them, because through Phyrexia they decided, these groups of people, they would try to develop fighting forces. So it was almost like an initial wave of combatants they were trying to develop and kind of build together. Success was a mixed bag on, that end of things. Because a lot of people weren't very friendly with the entire thing. Things like the Mogs, which were a species of goblin, they submitted very quickly. There were portions of many of the races that submitted. But the Shadow people were those of the Shadows were those that entered into it. He will talk about that majority of those of the Shadows, when they transitioned to the realm, entire groups of them disappeared. Some of them remained, but were bound to certain areas. But there were others that were non-shadow creatures that had very strange results in them when they came back. The fact is, those that seemed to be closer to Wrath were more likely to fail in their transition. He surmises that it might have been a failsafe because it seems as though with the transition between the many Evankars to the final Evankar, Krovax, there was a lot of distrust. He surmises in the Phyrexian leadership. So he thinks what it is it was some kind of kill switch. They didn't trust those that followed. The other people, they would end up just being in a position of the rest of the Dominarians. So Wintress's people, a lot of the other races that way. The only one that he found very strange is the Mogs avoided this issue. He surmises perhaps because they were too stupid to worry about. They didn't use the failsafe on them.
Didn't need to. Until me, they weren't smart.
Their brain was the failsafe.
Strangely enough.
I took all the Mog's intelligence.
Well, pretty much you did. Well, again, when they bred into the Shivan goblins, they kind of just made Shivan goblins better. The combination of the two just made them better.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All the other Mog so that I could be a genius.
Yeah, he definitely understands that it seems as though the main group that he believes exists nowadays is there seems to be he understands there's remnants of the group known as the Ildal. They are still cursed with the shadows, but they seem to be the most together of the remnant forces. The Ilkor seem completely gone, and I have to remember, it's Dal Vek. The Ilvek are cursed to the City of Shadows. He wasn't able to full access the City of Shadows, but he was able to interview some people that had stumbled upon some caverns that seemed to be connected under the swamps of Urborg, and learn a few things about it. He believes that there are a number of open caverns and places that still exist under Urborg, but it's very dangerous as there is a very powerful elemental that protects it. And, of course, the Cabal was there.
Right.
The elemental, of course, is an old friend of Carrie's, and the Cabal is in shambles, so,
So we could get in there.
You could try to find some of these caverns. The City of Shadows would probably not be recommended unless you want to learn about shadow people from other shadow people.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Do we know, did the shadow people like each other?
There were 3 factions that were each based on the different tribes. All the different tribes didn't necessarily hate each other, but they were kind of not together. Like the 2 human tribes, the Vek and the Dal, stayed apart from each other. They had very different societies. The ill versions of them, basically those that gave themselves to Wrath, were very different. Like, the Ilvek were still very city-based, I think, and that's why they ended up in the City of Shadows. That was basically their settlement. They were more settled, while the Ildal still remained with a little bit of that more nomadic side of things, and therefore didn't have as much permanency in their settlements. It's thought that maybe that's what caused them to survive. The Ilkor were a lot rarer, and it's thought that their death was not because of the failsafe, but because the area that they were in didn't merge well. He also suspects that the ill core, some of them might have survived and rejoined with the N core.
We found one, didn't we?
You thought someone that you might be an ill core.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or-
the one who was fucking with Wintress's shit.
He seemed different than Righton. That's definitely. Righton certainly, he could disguise himself, but, when he revealed himself, he was very shadowy. The ill core wasn't the same. It was more like he had some kind of manipulation of the shadows, like it wasn't as the same, I would say, still shadowy, but like maybe rather than being something that he's cursed with, it's something he learned, similar to Hang's and Wintress's bloodlines, because his bloodline is cursed a little bit, not the same way. He could maybe learn shadow powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, there is something he mentions here that maybe he forgot that he mentioned, because he didn't say it to you. There's a note saying, like, I've been pondering about the man named Vul, the man that called for me. The shadowy figure seems different, and in my research, there is another named Vul I came across. I'm unsure if they are necessarily related, but to take that name instinctively tells me that they are doing it for a reason. One of the former Evankars, when he was still mortal, was known as Vul, the man that would become Volrath, a powerful shape-changer and scion of Phyrexia that supposedly died to Krovex's hand. Now, I'm thinking that perhaps it's very unlikely that Volrath or Vul survived themselves, but perhaps this is someone either related to their mortal time, or someone that basically has taken on a mantle similar to him. I can only suspect that if these group seems to be a resurgence of either, I don't know if they're necessarily Phyrexian or Rathian strength. It's very unusual what they're actually aiming for. It's something more to ponder, and perhaps to look into when I have an opportunity. They haven't crossed me yet, so I don't think I have to worry about them. But an eye out is what I shall keep.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed. So, why don't we take our first break here? Having heard that. And we'll kind of finish up with this information here that you have a lot. You have a lot more than you thought you could possibly find here. Like, the information here is extensive. Granted, a lot of it is incomplete, as I said. This is like a lot of the basics of stuff. It's like steps 1, 2, and 3, but 4, 5, and 6 aren't shown. Still, it's still a lot of the ways there. 1, 2, and 3 helps a lot for anybody that's doing this. And perhaps when we get back, we'll talk about the gateway. So, when you drink, snack, or bathroom break, go ahead and take it. And we'll be back in a little bit.
Work's been breaking me spiritually.
Yeah, that happens. All right, everybody. Well, come back. So, yeah, there certainly is a lot of things in this chamber. Cats, like, I'm gonna tell you, it'd probably take you months to like break all this down.
Yeah, I don't know if I even want to break all this down. This is a lot.
Even weeding out the stuff that would be helpful to you would probably be time consuming. Because there's certainly, like, just on some quick glances, there are things here that could be helpful. Information about what's going on in Urborg, some basics of Phyrexian technology, because you did have the goal of possibly either rebuilding or improving on the Predator, on a skyship. And though skyship technology kind of comes in two directions, there's the side that's more on the weather light, but unfortunately it requires a power source that's very powerful. The engines on something like on the Predator, which was a larger vessel, but it was able to house the large engines needed for it. Basically, it's the unfortunate thing that the engines have to be at certain sized minimum, and that kind of pertains to you want a certain size minimum ship to go with it.
Unless I expand my dimension warping magic that I'm developing.
It's an option. Certainly there is stuff here to help with your techniques, technology studies. Lots of it. The unfortunate thing is, again, it gives very basics on how to use the portal too. It goes into detail, like he goes into details about like the civilization he discovered didn't necessarily have a name he could find. It was a remnant that was left over after the Thoranians. Probably could be called almost like a Thoran 2.0. But unfortunately, it was a small faction that had actually survived the battles between Yawgmoth and the Thoranians. The upheavals that had. It was by chance that the situation that they were in that they managed to survive. They were actually kind of on the frontier of Thoran's territories, and that the unique geographical situation meant that a lot of the issues that occurred didn't really come to them the same way. They didn't have to deal with a lot of the issues the rest of Thoran did during the fall. Because of that, they effectively were able to rebuild a small portion of it. Unfortunately, their colony was incredibly small. So they decided, well, they were going to do something with what they had. And there was an entire call for, well, revenge. A feel of it. And at the time, there was no easy access to Phyrexia. That's what they developed the gate for. Experimenting, and they came upon it by, it seemed, happenstance. A new technique for kind of... It wasn't necessarily intended for planar travel. It's more intended for planar observation, but it doesn't work quite well. So it's sort of like, because it's a half measure on that, it ends up connecting with its location more than it should. But it also ends up not giving good picture of the location necessarily. Now, granted, the unfortunate side effect is it's not meant for anybody to travel through the blind eternities, basically the area between planes. It's surmised in Dolmardul's notes that originally most portals that existed were able to do so because they just were natural like that. After the mending, the change in the dynamics of it, it seems as though the blind eternities, something about their energy patterns kind of in conjunction with the energy patterns of natural creatures made them less compatible. The energy actually causes degeneratory effects on anything that travels through them now. Planeswalkers have a unique area to create a kind of shielding for themselves against that. it's theoretically possible to manipulate that shielding. But as far as Domar says about that, he probably would have to acquire someone with an active spark and effectively take them apart to figure it out.
Well, he does, unfortunately, have something locked in the house with the capabilities to do that. That fucked up blue mummy.
The blue mummy was able to transverse because it's not alive.
Yep.
It like non-living or artifice seems to not have an issue the same way.
Yet another reason to become a robot.
Mm-hmm. So,
Well, Max could transverse it.
It's true. Maxwell can go on a little walkabout through the plains.
And it's unsure about me.
Are we talking about the portal?
Yes.
Yeah, you could theoretically take a jaunt through it.
I could, but I value my own lack of skin and whatnot.
Well, yeah.
you don't need to take a jaunt through it, but you could theoretically take a jaunt through it. You are the only one that probably could at this point in time.
I mean, there's a chance for me,
there's
but
a chance for you,
that's
and
questionable.
It's also, there's probably a chance for carry, because demons come from an area outside of planes.
Demon.
Oh, just me.
Well,
The only one who can't.
you're the definite can't. You have two possiblies, but maybe nots, and one definitely. So you really only have one person that definitely could.
My lungs could make it through. They're
Yes,
artifice.
They could. Your lungs could make it through.
I mean, we could put you inside a golem.
Regardless, if you wanted to, you could get a basic understanding on how to attempt to manipulate the gate. Tuning it to a location, again, as Dolmar said to you, seems more akin to an art rather than a science. Because again, technically speaking, the thing is a failed experiment for what they wanted it to do.
Here's a question. If I was in the bag, and Maxwell had the bag, and Maxwell went through the portal, would I die?
You have no idea. You do not know how the
Quite the
energies of the
mystery.
blind eternities would if they would transverse or not into your bag of holding, because it is a pocket dimension. You do not know how the boundaries between your pocket dimension and reality actually work.
Could we test it by putting like a plant in there?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, like a flower.
You have
Or
to send Maxwell somewhere, then, in order to
well,
do
I'd,
that.
How am I gonna get back?
no, I'd send Karn.
Mm-hmm.
Because Karn would probably be willing to do it because he'd think it'd be an interesting experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And B, dude already knows how to get back on his own.
He does know how to get back on his own.
True.
Because if this works, then I have created an interplanar taxi service.
That's good and bad.
I'm the only one in at least Dominaria who has pocket plane technology, except for that asshole who stole my fucking shit.
Yes, but if on another plane somehow someone got a hold of it,
Then they'd owe me royalties.
There are probably some planes that aren't good enough. Granted, there are some planes that they don't matter because they'll just, I mean, like, cough, cough, New Phyrexia is already invading other places because they can just send people through without their flesh, and their flesh can regrow when they get there. Cough, cough. How horrible cybernetic-y monstrosities do that. They done do that.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Someone should stop
it's
that.
so it's the opposite of Terminator.
Supposed to be us.
It is kind of the opposite of Terminator. I mean, that's how the Green Praetor ended up in the Viking world, briefly, to get some samples of some stuff, to bring it back to New Phyrexia. He just came through kind of half alive, and then just devoured nature around him to regenerate the rest of the way, and was like, oh, I'm ready for my mission.
Good praetors.
They are awful.
So we got a lot of notes. Some... I feel like some of these notes we should give to the Gatewatch people. Specifically the ones about the gate. Because, again, it's not my forte.
Agreed. Probably some of this information should also be shared with the college. Especially stuff on Phyrexian things, since they've kind of taken charge of controlling stuff like that.
I would like to make copies of some of this.
I'm not saying give them the originals. I'm saying give them copies.
Like, I'd have to say, like, some of the historical notes from very famous artificers and, like, other scientists throughout the ages is probably priceless. You know, like, there's some Urza's notes from back during the Brothers' War. Like, copies of notes he made back during that time period. There are notes from, like, Mishra, Taunos, Felden, countless others.
That shit we'll give to the college.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
They probably
Anything
have some
about
of it.
airships.
Hard to say how much they have, if they have all the copies, though.
Yeah. Anything regarding like airship or ship technology, anything with boats of any kind. Dibs.
Okay. Yeah, you can go through a lot of the stuff. You can sort it out. Give the college a bunch of things.
Hey, I think we've paid our tuition like forever by the amount of stuff we've donated to this college.
Honestly speaking, probably. Well, half of it's problems, the other half of it's not. So I mean, like the non-problem half, that problem.
I mean, yes, we've donated a lot. We also have made them deal with a weapon of mass destruction. But you know,
Tomato.
be fine. It's probably fine.
Probably fine.
Just a little mass destruction. It's still good. It's still good.
Look,
I want to commit more mass destruction.
do I remember what Joda's main field of study is? I mean, I remember. I personally don't fish. Hi.
No, you wouldn't know what his main field of study is. Probably. It's sort of like most of the time, the stuff he has you working on is the stuff that he does for the college to basically allow the college to tolerate. He just hangs out there and does his own shit. He's kind of like he's the professor that doesn't actually want to do anything, but has to do just enough to, like, be ignored.
He wants access to the facilities. He just doesn't want to actually put in time in the classroom.
Exactly.
So that I'm his one student right now.
Pretty much, because he has you doing all his busy work that relates to other stuff he does with the other, like, professors and stuff in various other groups.
Yep. All right. Fine.
Okay. So, you'll kind of figure out what all this is, kind of sort it out, and begin to kind of separate things out. It's going to take a while, and things will kind of quiet down at this point in time. For now, the Gatewatch will have departed, and a few days later, Joyra and her crew are going to bid you farewell. It'll kind of be like a, should you ever need some assistance, just let us know. Any kind of threat.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
We appreciate
I'm
it.
sure you'll hear from us at some point.
Yeah, we get in a lot of trouble apparently, so.
She's gonna chuckle and be like, yeah, seems like it.
We won't be buying another house anytime soon.
I plan on living at sea for some time. On a ship that I build so that I know what's on it. and there's no creepy metal people locked in the basement.
Aw, where's the
Well,
fun in
ships
that?
don't normally have basements.
Well, technically it's called the hold.
You'll have noticed something too. No one's seen Wintress in a couple of days.
Hang,
Perhaps
do you
it's
know where
has been
Wintress
told.
went?
She said she was stepping out and she left this with me, but I didn't know what to do with it, so I just put it in her room.
What did she
What
leave
is
with?
this?
Please
It's a-
elaborate.
It's a small bag.
Can we look in the bag?
I mean, sure. She didn't say you couldn't. She just said she'd be back. She'd be back. She's stepping out for a bit.
She
Oh.
didn't
The
even tell
bag.
me.
Yeah, what's in the bag?
Okay. There's a note.
What does the note say?
Emergency. Gone with Nim for adventures. Be back.
And she didn't even invite me. How
That seems
rude.
very
There's a PS.
uncharacteristic of
Harry,
her.
sorry, Nim said you couldn't come along.
What a bitch. I fucking hate that
And
guy.
it also says, it probably says like, what a bitch. I think you should be
PPS,
able to go
what a
along.
I can't
You know,
believe she's
every
gone.
time I see Nim or hear about Nim, I just hate him a little bit more.
He did give us cool things, though.
Yeah, but he also stole my best friend and didn't let me come along.
That is true. He did also get you into an elven city where you had to force him.
Beside the point.
Look, it is
And you
unfortunate.
wouldn't have your lizard puppy if it wasn't for him.
There's also a second note in there that seems to actually be from Nim rather than from Wintress.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
can I read the one from Nim?
Sure. It is an elven. Greetings, everyone. Sorry that I could not pick you up, contact you directly. I always stopped by very quickly and needed some assistance from Miss Wintress. I know a lot of you want to go along, but I didn't want to interrupt your studies. And it seems as though with the crowd that's around, I didn't want to interrupt too much. So apologies. And there are some young folks there that aren't really my thing to just talk with. And old associates of mine that, I don't know how to address him either, now that he's returned to the world stage, so to say. Regardless, though, seems though there was some issues with some of the core far off on another one of the continents. I've asked for Wintress's help in this case to assist me in dealing with those issues with them, helping them out. I figured, what better way than someone that is truly free of spirit and, honestly speaking, she wasn't doing much at school anyway. I checked it. In comparison to the rest of you, she was just coasting by on what would be equivalent to a, art major? I don't know how you can study just art, but apparently somehow she figured out a way to do that. I don't think that Talaria allowed for such things. It confused me when I discovered this, but I felt as though probably her learned musical talents might be able to help on our adventures also. Anyway, regardless, apologies to all of you for kidnapping for now. I'm not sure how long our mission will be. It'll take us to Otaria for now. Beyond that, I hope that perhaps I can escort her back once things have quieted down. I don't know how long things will take. For me, years are easy. I know that's not the same for all of you. Perhaps we'll be able to contact you some point in the future. Stay safe. P.S. Things are okay in Keld now. Probably. There's actually like a lot of dots. Probably.
Probably. You know. Maybe.
Couldn't be that
worked
bad.
on it.
Couldn't be worse than it was before, right?
I mean...
No, it could be.
Yes, I mean, he was attempting to defuse the faction of extremists within the Celtic culture that was hoping to bring them back to their more violent and enslaving, murdery ways of the past, rather than Rada and her more... I wouldn't call them friendly, they're still Keldans, but, like, reasonable?
Agreeable?
Agreeable? Yeah. They negotiate with something other than a sword to the face. You know, that old chestnut. Anyway.
Right.
Now it's just a sword pointed in your general direction.
Yes. With the out loud yelling. It's the Celtic way. Yeah, it seems though a bunch of Wintress's stuff is gone. Not everything. She did leave a bunch of stuff behind in her room.
Carrie, now you and Max could get along better.
What?
He can be your new best friend.
No,
Somehow I don't
that
think she'd
has-
like that. Although I would
Yeah,
certainly be happy with it.
Wait, yeah, I'm still here.
I
You're
like
not
to
getting
think
rid of me that easily.
that we're all best friends.
We are all very good friends, it's true. But I'm still here.
You didn't say you weren't.
Maxwell
Okay,
tries
fine.
to force the
You
group
can
hug.
you can take her
No.
best friend spot, and Max can take your spot.
No.
I'll stay neutral.
Stop trying to manipulate the group dynamics.
No. Kaz is my only friend here.
Hey,
We're more
Oh.
like acquaintances. We never talk, Claude.
That's not true. We've been together for such a long time now. We've all had at least some good conversations, no?
I mostly get drunk
that's a
and
fair-
get really high.
I think, whether we want to admit it or not, we're a big, happy family.
Very dysfunctional family, but sure.
I force a group hug.
Don't fucking
Everyone is
touch me.
uncomfortable.
Well, thankfully you're on the outside rim of it. And I'm hugging the other two gentlemen.
more like a hug conga line.
I also play some somber music for Wintress departing.
Okay.
I'll miss
Really
Wintress.
tiny
She's been with
violin
us
you have
for
there.
she's been with us for so long, and her humor was always very welcome.
Yes, she'll be fine. I have confidence in her ability to get out of insane circumstances through the most unusual means.
But who's gonna burn down villagers with me now?
Me, you know that.
That's true. He
That's
is a
valid.
pyrotechnic master.
That's valid.
Look, it's true that Wintress did burn down a village. I've burned down at least 3.
Yeah, but you tend to tell me to stop, whereas Wintress is like, oh, it could be fun.
See, normally I tell you to stop. It depends. We did both set off that weapon of mass destruction.
That's because you placed a button in front of me and said, do you want to push it? And you know I
did do
have
that.
very low impulse control.
See, exactly. So one day, I promise, we'll probably burn down the village. Hey, we did burn down that orc village, probably.
Hopefully.
I don't
At least
imagine
parts
it's-
of it.
Yeah, the gate for sure was exploded.
Everything after the jump was kind of a blur.
Because you were flat. You were a fucking pancake.
No, I wasn't flat. I was circular. I was wrapped around the wheel well.
And flattened by the wheel well.
You did. When I found you, you were kind of a puddle. It's fine. Anyway, let's continue saying goodbye to these people leaving our house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. House will quiet down. That's certainly. It'll just become a lot of you. Of course, Radiant will come back on and be she'll seem actually kind of like a little distressed for a little while, but after a few days she'll cheer up again. She'll just be like, I want to take a trip myself. I think there is a purpose for me being with you, but there are some places I want to go to, some things I want to do that might relate to all of our futures. And I think it'd be best for me to go and take care of them and then come back and help you all out again. I've enjoyed studying and hanging out with you, and it's not that I don't like you all, but I need, maybe a little time that I can be on my own to discover some of that stuff about me, because I am different than my kind. And I've got to learn what it means to be that different.
Understand.
Understandable.
I've always said you should try to find your own way by your, as you determined for yourself.
I do plan on returning again, but I think some time on my own would be good. And I think all of you, I feel like it was either me or Nim that a lot of times you relied on us on our long journey together. And maybe, Kaz, when you start traveling again maybe with the rest, that'll be an opportunity to travel on your own without me, so you could stand on your own. I think maybe all of us need to be able to stand on our own, and I think I need to be able to do that, not with strength, but emotionally, and make sure my mind is clear.
I understand. I'll miss having another artificer around who will understand my insane technical ramblings.
I enjoyed them all.
Who's gonna stop me when I do something stupid?
Again, me.
You're not very good at it, though.
No, I'm not.
Because sometimes you just join me.
Claude, Maxwell, Claude, I'm sure you can try to be a voice of reason too.
Do my best. I'll miss our late night card games then.
will also do my best.
Maxwell, you gotta... be more the man you've become. Stick with it. Carrie, please try to keep working on that balance that you've been working on while I'm gone.
No promises. I'm gonna go find more drugs.
I'll make sure she doesn't burn anything down too much.
Maybe you should get her to quit all the drugs. I'm just saying that it seems to not do well for her 99% of the time.
Look, I'm going to find the right drugs.
I still want to see if I can find suppressants that
Exactly.
suppress the evilness.
Something that calms her down and reduces the impulsiveness.
Weed.
We need to get more weed.
What is this weed you speak of?
Smoke
Get
leaf.
more smoke leaf
Good stuff.
from a
Stronger.
source. You know, part of the problem might be that we're using Cabal smoke leaf.
You know, I never
I am
thought about that.
That's bad. It's probably bad, right?
Look, I didn't
Maybe I can grow my own.
really want to say, but if this smoke leaf is what you need, I do know one of the major sources of it. I found out about it. Calaman. Calaman is very difficult to get to, though. The
Road
ocean currents
adventures.
in those areas are very dangerous that surround the territory of Calaman. And it's known for its very dangerous storms. It's one of the reasons that very few trade vessels ever reach it. They also are very highly guarded.
All I'm hearing is that I can take an adventure and get more drugs.
Be careful. They're known for... The people of Calaman are known for less their magical prowess and more technological developments.
We need to go there for sure. I think
Calaman is the only nation and the only realm in here that has cough firearms.
Oh, we going?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Also
we should give
have a
Maxwell.
gun.
I think we should give Maxwell a gun.
You
What,
think
is
I'm
everyone
capable
gonna
enough
get
to
a
wield
gun?
Well, you know how
No, I feel like you're gonna shoot me, but
Well, you
it'd
know how
be funny.
in the 1812 overture they use cannons. We're gonna do that with you on a smaller scale, where you're gonna accent like a percussion section for your playing, but it's a gun.
Here's the thing.
Da-da-da-da-da-da,
Maxwell is
jab,
going to end
blam.
up shooting Carrie, but it'll be funny.
Yeah. I think we should give Maxwell a gun.
Anyway, that's another place on your list then. Rainier will pack up her stuff and depart the next day with a small bit of fanfare, leaving things a little bit more quiet. Hang is actually going to approach you at that point in time. So, I've been thinking about it, and I know Kaz, you talked about traveling again, and what I'm thinking is, if you still want this house, I might want to stay here for a little bit and keep studying, especially since I've learned about my new powers. I want to try to develop them more, and you'll always need a port to return to. Maybe I could manage the estate while all of you are gone, once you finish up your studies and leave.
It's not a bad idea.
And, you know, maybe if you learn of a place that you need me for, I'll be ready for it then. I always knew I had strange powers, but after meeting that strange core lady, I understand now that it's a lot more than I've ever done before. And I think I need to take some time and learn what it all means. I think Wintress is doing that a little bit in her own way, but it sounded like, I guess, what Nim wanted, she decided maybe that was a good way of learning it all. I don't know. Not quite. Still have some time at school. Hang just said that when you just finally decide to head out, she'll stay here. She's just informing you way ahead of time. She's just like, yeah, you know, it's probably going to take me a lot more than what your plans were to finish learning all this. So, you know, better tell you now while we're all talking about this.
I need time to finish building bigger boat anyway.
Yeah. But, a little later, though, Latula is going to come to you, Max, and be like, we need to talk.
God, you're getting divorced.
It's only been a few months.
She's very pregnant.
Sure. Would you like to talk now?
Yeah. There's some things I've been thinking about that I think we should discuss.
Absolutely.
But before we do that, let's take our second break, of course.
The banger!
Some snack,
Damn.
drink, bathroom break. Go ahead and take that, and we'll have the Maxwell Latula discussion once we return. Boop.
None.
And welcome back. All right. So, Maxwell, your wife has called upon you to speak with you about important matters.
Okay.
Well, it's been a little bit here, and with everything that's been going on, I've been thinking myself. You know how we've been, well, talking about, you know, maybe what a family might be for us, or maybe even seeking out, like, humanity for you, or something like that.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Well, after our trip with our honeymoon, I've been thinking a lot about it, and I think we should talk about spending maybe some time away. Maybe if there are changes on our future, figuring them out. And this place has been really dangerous. I don't want to just say, let's go, let's run away. But a lot of bad things have been happening around here, and you get into a lot of dangerous line of work nowadays when you go adventuring with your friends. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to be there for them, but we have to talk about this, about the changes, about maybe us, and what we're planning, what we want to do.
You're right. I guess we haven't addressed this, despite it being very important.
What do we want to do?
I do agree that the things that we've been doing have been pretty dangerous. At the same time, though, these are also my friends, and I don't want to, you know, forget about them or give them up. But I do think you have a point with me trying to regain my humanity, because I think that would help us a lot.
Maybe it seems as though there's a lot of things going on with everybody, and maybe rather than dragging everybody with us, maybe just we take a look into it, and maybe we figure out where our family stands, and when we're all ready, maybe then we can talk about coming back. I'm not saying abandon your friends, but the last couple of months since the wedding has been really intense, and a lot of things related to everyone else and not us. And I'm not saying it's not been a bad thing. I'm concerned about them too, about things going on with Carrie, Kaz, Claude, Wintress, about everybody, about the strange things that we kind of stumbled upon here. But as much as I've enjoyed my time at Tularia, maybe we have to find a home of our own, whether it's in these islands or somewhere else. Someplace that, because we're together, we're not taking up the space of everybody else. And maybe then we can figure out our family situation better. I don't know.
I think that'd be a really good idea. If anything, we could really make do for an extended honeymoon after everything we've been through.
Think we should talk to the others then about it?
I think so. I think we've had our fair share of adventuring for quite a while and deserve a break.
Alright. Tula and Maxwell will call the rest of you then. I'm assuming.
So, we've all been traveling for... How long has it been at this point?
Probably at least a year.
A year?
More than that probably at this point in time, but at least a year.
We've been traveling together for about a year. And I'm not sure about the rest of y'all here, but I'm a bit tired. My bones have felt more creaky than usual. And I got married recently, and truth be told, I think all of us deserve some form of vacation from everything we've been through. Which is why I wanted to say that me and Lotula will be departing for a while. I don't know how long it'll be, but the next time I see you guys, I'll be human again. And not just wearing a mask for it either.
I also hope we can figure out our family situation maybe. Maybe when we both see you, it'll be as not just bunkmates in a dorm, but friends have their own lives. This house has been wonderful, but even as big as it is, we're still all stuck together, just like in that wagon we traveled with together so long. It's been fun journeying, but maybe we need some time to figure out, what it means. I certainly, I've enjoyed, loved seeing the surface, but I found love and companionship, and I want to figure out what that means for me too. I was thinking, I didn't mention this to Maxwell. Kaz, you said you were building your own boat.
Yes.
You think that maybe me and Maxwell could take out the other one?
Sure. That should be fine.
Very grateful for that, my friend.
Just, don't run it aground on some reef or anything. I mean, granted, neither of you can drown, so it's not really that big of an issue. Just be careful out on the waters.
I'm a fast learner. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
I'll loan you a book on sailing.
That'd be good. Given that I don't need to sleep, I'll have enough time to read it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
Let's just not make it another 100 years before we see each other.
Oh, believe me, it'll be sooner than that. You have my word.
Make it 100 years for me at the very least.
Carrion, you couldn't get rid of me even if you tried.
God, have I tried.
And I still love you all.
Yeah, whatever.
You've been a good friend, Maxwell. Despite the other occasions.
I appreciate that.
To be fair, most of those occasions were me.
I, of course, have done nothing wrong ever.
I know something about you.
I cast this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are amazing, and I'm very grateful to have met you all. And then I give everyone a hug, whether they want one or not.
Lutula does too.
And I cast heroism on each of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just burning these spell slots. Hope you don't get attacked by some fucking pirates.
That's okay. They will probably murder pirates.
Yeah.
And then take the survivors on as new crew. It's like, you're our crew now. That's how this works, isn't it?
Gone a long way since being attacked by goblins and motorboats.
It was kind of goblins and motorboats.
Being motorboated by goblins?
Man, those were the days. Being hired on by an evil shadow man who wanted to steal something from Cavs.
Fucker couldn't, though.
We should probably celebrate or do something together before we have to part ways.
Just not as hearty as the last party.
Oh.
I agree.
No, it needs to be double that.
No.
Personally, I'm thinking a concert to end everything.
Yes.
That is what we do best, after all.
Pyrotechnics.
Fire?
Well, who knows? Next time after this, and if you find your way to become human, you'll finally get to play the Ordnance.
Ah, yes. My biggest lifelong dream, ever since I've encountered the instrument.
Because you'll have lips.
So, an epic concert, an epic party will occur. But sometimes during the party, though, Kaz, you're gonna hear the...
It's my boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's my boy Slint the Carthrow King. It's my dude.
Mm-hmm. Kaz.
A massive cask of ale to the coast.
Yeah. You'll hear us, like, psychically like you normally do. But you'll also hear the, Kaz, I've been talking with Lutula. As much as I've enjoyed my time here at the college, I've decided to accompany them and protect them. They do not know about it.
Oh, thank God. Look, they're competent, but, like, in a fight, they'll both go down pretty quickly.
That is why I've decided to shadow them.
This is a good thing. This is a very good thing. I appreciate this little Carthrow King.
There are many oceans I have not seen. I would like to visit them And perhaps this will be an excuse to go to some of them.
Be careful around the burning aisles. It gets very hot.
I will try my best. Thank you for being my friend. Like a gigantic tentacle will come down, you know, kind of just put it next to you, kind of like, you know, as close to a hug as you could get with a kraken, because an actual hug would probably crush you into, you know, goo.
You are the best wingman I've ever had.
I still do not know what I'm supposed to do for that.
It's fine. It worked. It was excellent. You did a good job. You won't have to worry about doing it with Maxwell. He's already married.
I am not planning to reveal myself unless it is needed.
That'll be fine.
Lutula
Anyway,
may
this
be
cask
aware
of
me,
ale.
but Maxwell would feel probably engaged to share music and merriment. Not that I mind, but he should perhaps focus on Lutula. She has had many interesting discussions with me.
As much as I would love to hear the gossip that Lutula has told you, I should probably not. It's fine. This cask of ale is for you, however you want to enjoy it.
Thank you. Apparently, according to Lutula, I am a BFF when it comes to speaking.
That's a good thing.
I do not understand it that much, but I accept that it means something good.
It is a sign of appreciated companionship.
The Ricardo Kink will enjoy its ale and prepare for its long journey by just being there, because I mean it's a kraken. It doesn't really have the, you know, goods as the normal person would.
It does whatever it wants.
Yeah, it shows
Its
up.
food is the sea.
Its food is the sea, and it psychically goes to classes, you know, and like uses telepathy and like, you know, hangs out outside the building for class. So it's like, you know, during the day, just find a crack and just hanging outside Talaria, just doing stuff.
Doing kraken things.
Yeah, it's like, who's that? That's a student. Oh yeah, that's right, student.
Slitter Carthrow Kink, one of the realest motherfuckers there ever was.
It'll be probably a few more weeks at least before everything is ready for Maxwell and Lutula's true departure. After the party, you have to pack up the boat, prepare everything, you know, get all your stuff together, finish up a couple of classes at the school, things like that, you know. Cut things off in a reasonable manner. But, after it all, it'll be time for departure. The boat will be ready to set sail. Perhaps a few tearful goodbyes. Hang will be very emotional about it, crying, bawling, you know, hugging all of you, even though Lutula's the one that's leaving, and Lutula and Maxwell are the ones that are leaving. She will be hugging everybody.
Are we doing a goodbye speech for each of us?
If you want to
Who are all the people here? Just the party and...
hang in the party, just the four of you, the six of you, I guess, at that point in time, yeah. Radiant's
So
already
Hang,
left.
Radiant, and...
Radiant's already left. Wintress is gone. Alatar is still there.
Oh,
Hell
that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's 7 of you.
Oh boy, I got something fun to say to everybody.
Alatar will be like, I will always accompany you, Kaz. I technically
Al.
count as part of a class ability.
It's meta.
Mechanically, you are part of that. But that's meta text, and we technically don't know about that. Quit metagaming, Avatar.
Sorry, it's in my programming.
Anyway.
Oh boy. Hang, I've always appreciated your company. You and Wintress truly were the dynamic duo in our group. And I very much appreciate that you were I don't really have much to say to Hank, because I've like never talked to them.
She'll pull out her little harp and be like, "I'll continue to learn the harp so that you and Wintress and I can be a band again when you get back."
I would love that. I strum a few notes.
She'll do
in
okay.
amazement. That's good.
On her tiny
if you-
pocket harp, you know.
And if you ever need any help with learning how to play the harp or any instrument, really, feel free to send me a letter. I'll make sure to send all of you my address once we solve the housing situation. I guess I'll talk to Alatar next. Alatar, you truly are a kind and beautiful soul, even if you're unable to realize that at this moment. You've helped us in so many
always
ways.
Treating me the way that all of you treat me. I will miss you.
You deserve love just as anyone else does. And I give him a hug.
There.
Alatar is Baymax.
Basically.
I love Alatar so fucking much.
Kazrin, you truly are the world's greatest shipwright. And I know that you can do anything, and I mean absolutely anything that you set your mind to. I play him a bardic inspiration, and I put my hand on his shoulder. You're the greatest goblin I've ever met.
I don't know how many goblins you've met, but I'll still take the compliment. You have, again, as I said, despite it all, you've been a very good friend. And I've always appreciated your company and your music.
Thank you. I give him a hug.
I'll give him a hug.
Aww. Carrion, I know that I've done many, many wrongs. And as I'm saying this, I kneel on both of my knees, and put my head down. I'm truly, truly sorry for all the harm that I've caused you. And I want you to know that most of the things I've done were a mistake, but your friendship means the absolute world to me, and I'm so sorry for all my actions.
First off, most of them? Second of all, fuck off. Get up off your knees.
I stand
I'm
up.
literally just gonna grab Maxwell, haul him up, give him like one of those really quick bear hugs, push him off, and then be like, fuck off, and walk away.
It's the most affectionate I've ever seen her.
I agree. I wasn't expecting a hug.
I wasn't either.
Was more there for the penance, if anything.
It's impressive.
Well, I'd say that's a win. It's the best I could have hoped for, at least. Claude.
Been an interesting journey.
Even after all these years, in all of the conflict, the good times, and everything in between, you are and will always be my best friend for life. I give him the hardest hug of the group.
And I hug you back, and you feel a little bit of pressure on your chest. And then it goes away.
I whisper into his ear, don't tell my wife I enjoyed that. I love you like a brother. Thank you. And I promise you, when I solve my humanity crisis, I will help you find peace in this world. You have my word.
Just be careful out there. Try not to probe anyone's mind without us.
Believe me, I've learned my lesson. Instead of focusing on deception with my powers, I want to focus more on the truth. And I cast Zone of Truth on myself. And I say to everyone, today is the day I start living. And I take Lotula's hand and head toward the boat.
Oh, fuck. Hey, do not forget, under any circumstances, do not take off that ring. It is so important you keep wearing that ring. Otherwise, that asshole might try to contact your mind again, and that's bad, and nobody wants that.
As I'm walking away, I say, "Will do. Take care, friends. I'll see you in due time."
A heartfelt scene that has Maxwell and Latula heading off, leaving 5 people on a dock. There's still a few months left in the school terms that you kind of had planned on, at very least. Maybe still some more stuff to do. Maybe even a few more extra months, as Kaz still has to finish going through everything, figuring out what's useful. He has to finish his ship.
Fucking boat. I gotta find a name for that boat. That's what I'll do in the intro.
I'll be also working on helping him go through stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to try to collect as much data on these people as I can. If there's anything else of interest, we haven't found out.
Yeah.
I like that
And
your job with the notes is like
Phyrexian.
useful to the party, and I'm just like, nah, I'm being selfish with these notes. I'm finding what's useful to me.
Well, this is also, because it entails Phyrexia and it scares the crap out of me. It's also personal.
Yeah.
So. Time will pass. Things will change. People have been split. Things are quiet. At least for now, whoever those folks are that you've been dealing with, they're working on other plans that don't revolve around you. They're doing other stuff out there, giving you time to maybe prepare for the next leg of your own journey. Where there once was 5, now 3 remain. 3 in an Alatar. But I think what's next leg of the story is just that, another story for another time. We have to take a step back here through the annals of the blind eternities, to the mists between the realms. Take a step back from Dominaria as the world turns more. Time will pass. Months. An unspecified amount right now, definitely. But when we return to Dominaria, things will be a little different. Time will pass. The team will have prepared for a new journey, for new places to visit. Shiv. Kalaman. Urborg. These are just a few of the places that you have on your list to visit. Perhaps others. You've heard of some places in the world. But no longer is it time just to walk across a continent, to be on the whims of a cart and an old horse. Now is the time to cross the world yourself. To upgrade. It's boat time. A ship ready to take you to new adventures and new places. New enemies, new friends. Hard to say. But a journey for the future. So, for now, we're going to say goodbye. And that is the end of this effective season of Children of Rath. It'll be a little bit before we start the new season, at least a couple of weeks. I'm going to figure out a schedule for that. Get some new stuff set up for it. But I do want to thank everybody who joined us for this season at the very least, and these adventures that we've gone on. I'm hoping that everybody's enjoyed the time we've had. It has been, like a year and a half. It's been pretty
Yeah,
intense.
like roughly a year and a half.
Yeah. You're in 7 months, I think.
something like that. Just hitting it. We started, I think, in January last year with that first episode.
Yeah, that feels right.
He's 68 episodes in, meaning you missed some, but not that many. I think you've missed a bunch more on this back end here. Out of, like, a full year, pretty good. Pretty good. Much better than my own shows. Cough, cough. Cough, cough. Other shows which won't be mentioned that also had much worse schedules.
We were pretty consistent.
Yeah, there were only like a few that we really missed, right? Like maybe like 5 or 6 total, I think.
It was.
I mean, like, yeah.
It was like 8 last year, and then we missed a few more this year because there've been a few more issues here and there, like some tech issues and stuff with me and things like that going on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Life happens,
we managed to keep a campaign running through a pandemic.
That's pretty impressive in and of
True.
itself,
Yeah, that's
honestly.
True.
The pandemic last year and this year has caused a lot of effects on a lot of campaigns. So definitely it's been a lot harder with everything that's going on. So we did a pretty good job.
I'm happy.
I want to throw out thanks to Lindsay, who had to take a step back a while ago, and with everything going on, it just made it very difficult to come back in, and just so kind of retired things. It was unfortunate that I didn't have a better out earlier for Wintress, but I kind of always left her in the background just in case Lindsay could rejoin us. But since we're coming here to that season end, she's gone for now on an adventure that she might show up again. Certainly. You know that Nim's probably going to show up again at some point in time. So that's what I've kind of lived.
Bitch.
We'll be ready to punch him in the face when he does.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Gently
Face,
punch.
crotch.
Gently?
Check.
He could take a punch from me.
So I did air quotes.
So, thank you, Lee, who's currently gonna kind of be taking a step back with Maxwell and Latula going on their own adventures. That maybe either perhaps a guest spot at some point in time to pop in and talk about what's going on, or maybe even just a resolution by the end of the entire campaign of what happens to Maxwell and stuff too. We'll have to we'll have to talk about it. But why don't you give a information shout out about yourself and stuff like that?
Well, I'm sure at this point everyone knows that I'm a Twitch streamer. That's nothing new. I stream like a lot of different stuff. But yeah, my whole gig is that I'm a writer. As someone who has kind of hosted his own, I guess, like kind of janky D&D thing back in college, this was one of my my few times where I actually got to be a player, and this was really insightful. This might be personal, but this campaign specifically helped me for a really, really difficult time in my life. I go through like a lot of anxiety on like a daily basis, but having this being a consistent thing and having like a really, really sweet and kind group of people who are very understanding and just genuinely pleasant to be around has definitely enriched my life in a more positive manner. And I mean, obviously I don't know how season 2 for this is gonna pan out, but I'd like to at some point be back on the show. I just need to figure things out because I'm in the process of moving, and that's kind of a big priority for me personally. But yeah, thank you for having me to have the opportunity to do this.
We'll see how things go for Maxwell in the future. Definitely won't be the last. I guess for now, let's go to our normal group then and kind of hit them up, and we'll do our normal setup for the final 3, who I'm sure the 3 of you will be back for season 2, unless something comes up. So, Mads.
Fuck me.
Yeah, you're the normal one I start with.
Yeah, dude, it's always you who starts.
Normal start with you.
Listen, for the most part, it's because my mic, for some reason, if it's not close enough to my face now, it won't pick me up. Anyway, hey, on Tuesdays, you'll still see me and Joe and Tantus. We're on Star Trek. And I am also punchy, but I have more impulse control. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And Fish.
Hey guys, it's Fish Harlan, and since it's the season finale, I'm gonna burn through the list that I have.
Get a
Just
new
the
list
last
for the next season? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna start writing more options in the meantime. But so this week you can find me studying Ray Romano's Bad Vibes. You can find me buying bananas in order to create a banana-powered nuclear reactor. You can find me getting excommunicated from the Catholic Church on charges of communism. That's a real thing. If you're a communist, you can get excommunicated from the church.
Wow.
You can find me commandeering one of the 25 remaining blimps. That's also true. There's only 25 blimps in the world.
Really?
And most importantly, you can find me turning 23. It's my goddamn birthday.
Happy 23rd.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
23rd.
And of course, Joseph.
You'll find me on Tuesdays for the time being. Only on Tuesdays. Doing the Star Trek with Tantus and Mads.
So I'm gonna keep everybody informed. I'm gonna say that. At least a couple of weeks off. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to at least find a fourth person. I have a bunch of people that I know I can ask. I'm gonna fish around to them and see which ones might be interested, things like that. And if possible, maybe seek out a fifth. I don't know. I might leave that kind of open for now. I'll think about that for next season. I'm going to consider that. But I'll probably do some streaming at some point in time. Only 2 things on the schedule then right now that are definitely coming up. Saturday, 2 p.m. EST, discussing tabletop discussion show, really fun, enjoyable. We talk about some of the tabletop news of the week and some other crazy shit. Tuesday at also 2 p.m. EST is Legacies of Kain, Vampire the Masquerade game. On the back end of that show too. That show is getting close to the end. We had a couple weeks off because one of our poor player Carpe had some issues with that he was moving. And he had to do like retiling of a house and stuff like that and that took quite a while, and some other work and stuff like that. So because his poor character had, let's put it this way, been blind and unable to communicate for a large period of time when they were in an underground lake, and because everybody else had ability to see in the dark and he did not, they wanted to wait for him to be back. Everybody was being nice, since he missed a bunch of sessions while he was there. And it was finally a point in time he could do some stuff. So that's why I've had a break on Legacies. And then, of course, Star Trek, which Mads and Joe mentioned. And I will try to get a couple of actual gaming streams in, I guess, this week, since we've been kind of quiet. I mean, like, last week I missed a whole bunch of days because of tech issues. But now, since they're theoretically done, I will try to get those in, actually. Try to get them on the schedule. So, but, yeah, for now, thanks everybody for joining. I hope you can be back for season 2. We'll see how that ends up. I'll have some spiffy new stuff on the appearance of everything. I'll probably like get some new updated cards from the cardsmith as long as it's still working. I haven't checked out that website in like a year and a half. Honestly,
It should be fine.
it's probably still there. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would have gone away, but you know, I haven't clicked on the link. So, but and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for now, thank you for joining us. I hope you had a really great time, enjoyed the show, and we'll be back in some form some point soon in the future. But until then, farewell everybody, goodbye. Farewell.